y'all, this is Janie, and I recently posted in our fantastic Facebook group, digitally speaking group that is, how this little penguin who's all dressed up and ready to help me collect my holiday recipes for my family and friends. I had a lot of questions as to how I did him, and I have to tell you, he is all iDesign shapes that Sandy Cruz has just done an amazing job with. He's created in Keynote. He's fun, he's easy, and hopefully he'll be the guy you want to dress and go on a date with soon. Let's join me as I make a penguin chef the iDesign shape way. What are you going to need? The supplies are simple. I use the iDesign file Holiday Dazzle. Almost all, in fact, I think all of my shapes are from this particular group of iDesign shapes. But I used patterns from I Love Fall most of all, the metallic prints, and warm and cozy winter. Not too many, ever. And how did I start? I started with the basic little penguin from the Holiday Dazzle group. He's so cute, and like I said, I'm in love with him. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my little penguin has the main dark color that I want. And what I want for this particular image is just a flat black. So I'm going to double tap on his little black body, and I'm going to select the paintbrush, image, and replace. From my Warm and Cozy album, which I have in my iPhotos, I'm going to select the flat black paper. Be the last one. And I think he comes in as glittered, but I don't want the glitter this time. Now, I'm going to also select different parts for depth and add shadows. So I'm going to select his beak, and I'm going to go to Style, turn my shadow on, and I don't want a huge, I can play with them, but I think what I'm going to do, I like that one. So I use the fourth shadow effect on his beak, and now I'm going to go with the double tap on the black, turn on my shadow, and I'm just going to use a little bit of a drop shadow. I might play a little bit just to see. So I kind of like that one too. A lot of it is just what you want. That one, the third on the top row, makes his wings stand out a little bit. And then I'm going to select his feet. I had a little trouble with the shadow on this one, and I don't necessarily want to ungroup it. So I may just give it up for now, and when I'm done, I'll come back to his feet. But we will have a shadow later. And that's how I add some depth to him, by the shadows. Now, anytime I change a pattern, it's the same basic process. I'll go over it one more time, and then I will be adding my patterns independently of this video, just for time's sake. So now that we have our penguin pretty much the way we need him, I've copied him to his own slide. Think back to some of my other videos, and I do everything on its own palette or its own slide. It just simply makes it easier, or it has up until now. What I want you to see is for his glove, I've taken the little mitten from the collection I showed you, the Holiday Dazzle, and I simply change the papers. Now what I'm going to do is I'll change the paper for this particular object. It's the same method every time you want to change the background pattern. So I select it, and I'm going to go to Image, Replace, and I will select I Love Fall most of all, and I will click on or tap the image that I want to use. And for this one, I'm going to use the pumpkins and the brown. Let's go with pumpkins and yellow because it's a little different. And that gives me the fill that I'm choosing for this particular image. Now, I'm going to go to Style, again, Paintbrush Style, and I'm going to turn my shadow on. The drop shadow is first. I can give it a little bit of depth, or I can make it kind of turn out. It's just up to you to play with it. I think of all of them, the plain drop shadow is my favorite. And then what I'm going to do, I'll select my glove, and I'll bring it, I'll use the one I created, over, and I'm going to rotate it To do that, I tap with one of my fingers, usually my index finger, and I use that as my pivot point and rotate it. You rotate it by using the blue dots and put it on his little fin, and that's good to go. So what about the spoon? Probably the most questions have been about the spoon. And if you look at the Holiday Dazzle collection, let me see if I can go back and zoom in on it. You see the red, it's kind of blurry, but you can see the red next to the black and white stripe, the red Christmas ornament. That is the one that I used. And I take it in, and I'm actually going to change the paper to the metallic. So this time I'll click on it, paintbrush image, replace, go to my metals, somewhere in here, there we go. Click on my silver, and now the trick. I'm done with the papers, and I'm going to paintbrush arrange. I'm going to turn off constrain proportions. I like this feature. It actually gives me a lot of flexibility that I didn't realize I had. So now, with the constrain proportions off, I can actually elongate this image and make it just a little bit narrower so that it looks more like a big old spoon or a mixing spoon. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tap on my image, bring it over, and rotate it so that he's holding it. Now I can add a shadow. I can actually go to style and probably away from everything because it is a 3D spoon. And there he is, he's ready to cook. No well-dressed cook ever goes into the kitchen without an apron. So let's go ahead and let's create an apron for him. Once again, back to my Holiday Dazzle collection, and you can see that there is, let me see, where is it? It is the red and white checked ornament. Well, it looks like a red and white checked ornament, probably in about the lower middle of my collection. Let's go back to my slide. And I've played a lot with these. I change it a lot as far as papers. So now I have this particular ornament, which looks black and white, but I have already filled it with the green. So what am I going to do to make it look more like an apron? And I think that's the question right now. I'm going to tap on it, and I'm going to double tap, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to, with the background selected, I'm going to drag it up so that it is not filling the entire shape. And then I'm going to select done. And now I'm going to bring my green apron over, and I'm actually going to go to paintbrush, arrange, constrain proportions. Now that doesn't look much like an apron yet, so I'm going to make it wider. Turn off constrain proportions, silly me. And I'm going to make it longer. And I'm going to keep playing with it till it covers his little body and is about the size that I want it to be. That will work. And if I so choose to make it a little wider, I can. And that gives me the bottom edge that I need. But every apron needs a pocket. And on my pocket, I have used the silver oval, filled it with my pumpkins, and I'm going to double tap on it, and I'm going to move the pattern down about halfway and click off. And now I'm going to make it bigger so that my pocket is bigger. Okay, now it looks more like a pocket, and I'm going to bring it over to my apron and set it. And again, don't forget the shadows. Very important for that depth. So now every best dressed chef needs a hat. And that hat is probably the sign of his ability to cook. And that's what we're going to leave at that. If you look at the collection and you look at, there's a couple different baubles on this particular collection. Can you see the one that I'm going to use? Again, it's the red one, but I've removed a little silver topping from it. Okay, I'll scroll in. It's kind of blurry and I apologize, but it is the red one with the handle, and that's exactly the one I'm going to use for my hat. So my little chef is going to now gain his hat. First thing I did, I brought it in, and again it looks black here. I should have probably put it as red so you'd be able to see it. But I enlarged it. Again, I toggled, I clicked on it, and I have constrained proportions off. And I actually filled it with the white paper that looks like snow from Warm and Cozy Winter. And now I'm going to take, and here's the key, over under paintbrush arrange. This particular object has to go from the front to the back. And what that does is that allows it to go behind the penguin's head. Well, now he looks like he's got a cloud over his head, or maybe a speech bubble, and we're not quite with that. So I have to make the band. Again, from Holiday Dazzle, I used the long oval. It's currently filled with silver. I rotated it 90 degrees so it lays on its side. And then, I have to do this on top of my hat so I actually can see what I'm doing. I put it over there. I make sure constrained proportions are off. And it's kind of hard to see. But I'm going to, in fact, raise that up just a little bit. And I'm going to double click on it. And I am probably going to decrease, no, I know I'm going to decrease the size of my fill. What I want is I want straight edges on the sides. So I can now, let me move in. If you can see, it's starting to look more like the band of a chef hat. Just because the fill says fill doesn't mean you have to fill your image. In about 2 strokes, I've now completed the band to my hat. And my little chef looks like he's about ready to go to the kitchen. So, ladies and gentlemen, why don't you have a chef that joins you in your kitchen this holiday season? It's all possible because of iDesign Shapes and iPlanner. Have a great time, and I hope this helps you see beyond the design.